Rise and Shine with Robbo and Becky on Vision.
Well, it's that time of the week and we love it. Britt and Kate Ryan from Focus on the Family Australia join us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So good to have you guys in the studio with us. And Becky's unfortunately not here as well.
Right. I'm just going to sulk in the
I know. I used to do all my meetings in my walk-in robe, Zoom during COVID. My wife's colour coordinated was in my background. And I didn't want to do those blurry things, and I just thought it was a great conversation starter.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
sound was amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, it is
Good
pretty
acoustics.
good in here.
Good acoustics for sure.
I put up a duvet cover every morning because we actually don't have much stuff because our stuff hasn't arrived yet. So every piece of clothing that we own is in this wardrobe, but it's just not much because we only bought a suitcase each. So.
Yeah. Now, looking to dig into something which is quite relevant to me and my wife at the moment, but I'm sure there are plenty of people.
Allegedly.
Well, that's right. We're asking for friends.
Yeah.
But it's all about, because my youngest just turned 18 a couple of weeks ago. So, he's now officially an adult. Obviously, eldest has already been there for a couple of years, but they're both still living at home. And so we've been wrestling with this whole thought about creating a bit of a living at home agreement with the boys.
Yeah.
We've got other friends that have been doing a similar thing, and really keen to get your thoughts, because I'm sure this is something that a lot of families, and obviously with kids staying at home longer and longer these days, how do you navigate this whole issue of having, a group of adults all basically living together?
Yeah, well, I mean, part of your role and responsibility is to set them up for success, not only for now, but into the future. So, there'll be many mums and dads who are saying, well, when I was growing up, my mum and dad did everything for me. You're actually doing a disservice by doing everything for them. So you're preparing them for the realities of managing their finances, learning to cook, learning to clean, learning to be responsible for their clothing, and setting them up so then they are prepared to, eventually leave the nest, and that's what your ultimate goal is. And it all comes through communication and building that healthy relationship in the early formative years. And so that's for you, Becky, as well. Early formative years, developing those relationships and also giving them responsibility on life's journey, and not allowing them just to be, being served and so they can contribute to the household and doing chores. But as you're coming to the adulthood, it's good to have those conversations and right-sizing expectations.
So true.
Okay. All right.
Oh, absolutely. And look, one of those amazing things that you read, I read Dr. Egerich, and he was speaking about when our children are younger, parents have more responsibility and control, and the children have a little bit. And then as they grow up, they take on more responsibility, they have more control or freedom, and you have less authority. And as they get into those teen years, all of it starts to end up more in their court. They should have more responsibility. We have less authority. They have some more freedom. But if our young adults want all freedom and you have no authority
and no responsibility,
no, they need to take on full responsibility. Yeah. If they don't want you to have any authority, even though they're under your roof, then they need to take on full responsibility. And often that will mean that they need to leave.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Because it's still your home. They're still under your roof. You've still got rules that need to be abided by. And if they don't want you to have any authority at all, and they're in that very rebellious kind of phase, or they're just ready to leave the nest and they just need that push because it's got a bit comfortable.
Yeah.
And so, we've really got to work out, you picture one of those Venn diagrams where all the circles are intersecting. And so we've got to make sure that if they're ready there and they really don't want you to have any authority, then they need to take full responsibility.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, it was when we listened to the podcast on that and read the book, it was just an aha moment. And we probably would do things differently with our own boys. I mean, we've got 3 grown-up sons and we did prepare them for the realities of this world. But there's certain things that we may have done a little bit differently, especially in that area. If you don't want to have any, of us telling you what to do, and we didn't, say you have to do this and do that. But if they wanted total freedom, then they needed to take much more responsibility, which meant paying for the bills and maybe contributing around the household a little bit more. They did, but they could have done a lot more had we had the opportunity to do it all over again.
Yeah, that's right. Now, when you talk about Egerich, is that
yes,
the guy?
Dr.
Is this the
Egerich.
love and respect The guy that wrote Love and Respect?
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
okay, because, I'm familiar with him. But, yeah, that's interesting. I've never thought of it that way because I guess that sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Like, it's sort of logical, but I guess oftentimes as parents we think, we don't want to sort of boot them out the door.
No.
But if that's the way they're acting, maybe we should.
Well, I just think too that when you have a house full of young adults plus us as adults, we've had all this time to build relationship with them. But if they are so far along that they just want the total thing, and therefore they're not falling into line at all in terms of being respectful of being under your roof, then it's not cruel to ask them to leave because they think they're ready.
Yeah. And
sometimes just getting out, I mean, I've got a girlfriend I was just talking to and she said he wouldn't listen, he wouldn't do anything. He's moved out with mates and she said it's been a huge reality check for him. All of a sudden he's saying, and all those things I'd said, he's now acknowledging, but he didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it just takes that push out of the nest to get that.
And I think it's also, I mean, if you're just looking at finances in general, like our boys, we would have included them a little bit more about how much costs. Because when they moved out, they're going, Dad, do you realise? Do you realise how much it costs for gas? Yeah. Do you realise how much it costs for electricity? The water bill. Yeah. This is one of the sons who used to, just let the water soak over him for 25 minutes, and so now that's that's something that I think it's a minor thing, but I know there'll be some people listening today, and they've got that significantly potentially toxic relationship with their children because they're not listening, they're being disrespectful. It may be time that you might need other people to come alongside to help support you and maybe do and ask them to leave, and it may be the best thing for them, but you might be saying, but I'm going to lose the relationship. Well, the relationship is becoming damaging to yourself and your own mental health and well-being, and it may be that you need that time apart.
And I guess the other thing is with that is that if you say to them maybe it's time to leave, the door's always open. Like if they do have that reaction and go, oh wow, this life is real, they come back with a whole different attitude.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot of boomerang kids.
Yeah.
A lot of boomerang kids.
There are. And that's fantastic because they all of a sudden realise that you're not, as a parent, discipline and training is part of love.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't realise that until they're in their adult years. And then they go, oh, you did that for a reason. Oh, you were doing that for, And so sometimes it takes that for you to actually build that mature relationship with your young adults. And let's face it, even I think like you were talking about, Robbo, of having a contract and talking about what's expected and how you're going to relate, because you do have to move from the parenting role to more of a mentor role.
Yeah.
We're not staying in the same position. As parents, we have to let go because they are growing up into adults. We want them to be healthy adults, and we can't keep protecting or stepping in or saying, have you got a jacket? let them go cold.
Guilty as charged. I do delve into that every now and then.
He still does it when they drop in. He goes, it's raining. Do you want an umbrella? I think if they wanted one, they could grab one.
I'm a papa bear, all right? Okay.
Yeah, but we do. We do have to slip out of the parenting role all the time.
You'll always be their parent, but you don't have to be their, manager.
Exactly. Yeah, good point. Well, some great things to consider and all this. Again, I mean, I'm sure you've got some great resources on your website that people can check out, articles and what have you.
Yeah, very much so, at families.org.au.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, guys. Appreciate you being with us, and we will look forward to chatting again next week.
Fantastic.
More than welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.